Do you think reaching Mythic is hard? Do you think it's even harder in solo queue? Well, in this series I'm going to prove to you how easy it can be if you know what you're doing. Welcome to the Why It's So Easy to Reach Mythic in solo queue if you know what you're supposed to do series. Let's just call it solo queue to Mythic challenge, like anybody else. Hello my friends! We start our journey in Epic 1 with 1 star. So theoretically, we need about 20 matches to reach Mythic. If we win all, of course. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. I wanted to start with one of my favorite heroes, 1-1. Nice. But as you can see, our S4 had different ideas.
I am the moonlight that breaks through the darkness.
Loyal viewers will remember this scene. Well, I decided to pick one of my first mains ever, and actually the hero I've made my first video ever about instead. Badang. Now we only need a tank. Oh well. Guess I'm the tank now. Here's the build I'm using in this match. You may be surprised that there are almost no defensive items in it. It's my usual side lane build. Why I use this build, I will explain later in the video. Let's quickly analyze the enemy. As you can see, their composition is far from ideal as well. Uranus is really not good as a classic tank. He's much better solo on the side lane, because it's really difficult to take him down alone. Zilong's emblem's choice is also interesting. Our Mia's emblem and spell is a bad joke, obviously. Karina and Vale are strong picks though, so it doesn't look too bad for our team. I'm using the spell Petrify with Badang for a simple reason. His ult is not really strong enough right now to kill most enemies alone. With that additional stun though, you can one-shot even enemies that are a bit overfed. You just need good map awareness to catch the enemies by surprise. Let's get into the match now. As I said, I decided to go for the roam equipment and wanted to help Mia first. If you manage to get a like Layla or Mia fed enough, they can completely destroy the whole enemy's team at late game alone. And since in lower ranks the matches tend to be longer, they're actually not the worst heroes you can play. Our Mia though, well, you can see what she does. In lower ranks, most tanks still go with the which you almost never see in higher ranks. So right now, I'm in a 1v2 situation. That reminds me of my starting time, where there were no gold or XP lanes. You as a fighter were always up against the and the tank alone. In a situation like this, you should play defensive. Try to get the farm from the minions and last hit them if possible for the extra gold and XP. But otherwise, stay safe and don't dive into any unnecessary fights. You can try to steal the crap if they are going for it. And taunt the enemy, of course, if you manage to steal it. My team gave away their first blood sadly, but it's not a deal breaker yet. What Mia is trying to do here though is embarrassing. Well, we are up against 3 enemies and they decided to fight me. Big mistake. The Uranus almost made the same mistake again, but was lucky enough that he was not under the turret anymore. So something that you should learn out of this scene is, if the enemy has a hero that can stun you under the turret, don't dive in recklessly. Even in the 1v3, this can backfire horribly at you. Next, I have another tip to steer the crab. You can position yourself like this, that you can see the crab's HP, but not the enemy. What also means, the enemy can see you. Then you can go in at the right moment to steal it and surprise the enemy. Mia, of course, ruins this attempt. Another super important tip I want to give you right here. If you realize that you have a teammate that is useless AF, don't try to help them. Let them do their BS and ignore it. Getting angry about it doesn't help, and trying to save them if they suicide doesn't help as well. Play around them and use them maybe as a bait. If they are out of position and the enemy tries to get a free kill, ambush them. Like this, the Noom teammate even gives you something like a little advantage. As you saw, I just got my second kill, and now we have the chance to push. Do I really need to say anything about that? Maybe that you should use your full combo on the like button and write me a comment how you like this new series so far. After you're done with the whole video, of course. I restarted the game here because I thought I have a sound bug. It turned out that I was an idiot because I didn't disconnect my Bluetooth headphone from my phone. Oh well. While I was a bot, I used my ult apparently, but didn't die at least. Good bot, I guess. What is not so good is that we're up against 4 enemies on the top, with no help around. Here, it would have been better if I just ran away, to be honest. With my ult available, I could have maybe get 2 enemies, but without it, I just suicided. Now, let's check the overall situation. We actually have the gold lead, since the Karina is doing a really good job until now. The enemy Zilong seems to be the weak point of the enemy, while the enemy Cyclops and Amon have good stats. It's always good if you are aware who are the good and the bad enemies. That tells you who you should focus. There are matches where it can be enough to shut down the one really good enemy, because that one is solo carrying the game for the enemy. You can also see what items the enemy built. For example, if you have a regen hero, you can see which enemies has built anti-heal items and you can try to avoid them. Mia keeps running around like a headless chicken, so it's more fun for us. At this point I was thinking about selling my roam equipment again, but I kept it for the conceal effect, because it's great for me to engage later. Now, since our all dog revealed the map and killed Amon in the process, I'm aware of where the enemies are and can just push without being worried to be ambushed. I also got my first core item already at minute 5, which is pretty early. A little badang trick here. You can use your first skill to activate his passive faster and therefore push the turret or stun the enemy faster. Mia somehow managed to kill Zilong, although I was 90% sure that this was Karina's kill. They actually managed to kill 3 enemies and only our Mia dies, which is irrelevant. Cyclops showed up here, but it's not really a threat for me, especially with my Petrify available. I tried to push more, since 2 enemies just respawned and 2 are still dead. Of course, the only left enemy showed up at my lane. Sad noises. I decided to hide here and see what happens next. Now we have a very good example of map awareness. You remember that 4 enemies were just dead, right? Well, they all respawn now. And since this is usually Hanabi's lane, you can guess where she's going. Uranus also showed up here again, and our team is far away. With Aldog, we are in the 2v3 situation here. So fighting would be suiciding. In situations like this, it's time to run away. But also for running away, I have a tip. If you are surrounded like here, you should run out of the bush in the exact moment where the enemy enters the bush. That gives you a head start and you have the best chance to escape. Best is of course to not get surrounded, but it can happen sometimes. Now you can see on the map that our whole team is coming here and the enemy is along a spot. A perfect chance to gank, because we have the numbers advantage. Although we lost the turret bot, it's okay, because we got 4 kills and therefore a ton of gold and the chance to take multiple objectives. Even though I'm pretty low, I can still push without any worry, because who should attack me now? That nobody went bot is a mistake though. Zilong could easily push 2 turrets through and then the advantage of the last gank wouldn't be that high. Vale is also really out of position here. In an open 1v1, he can't defeat Zilong unless he hits him with his knock-up skill. Also, don't just push further if the enemy respawned. They will obviously go to that lane to defend it. So these 2 deaths were really unnecessary. Karina is godly though and just slices through Zilong. Oh, hi Amon. Our Karina is so fat already that she can even just slice through Uranus easily. Amon got a little confused here. I guess it's because of the stunts we have. So as a tip for you, be aware of the spells your enemy have. Don't get surprised by the Aegis, Execute or Petrify for example, because you can make a game-changing mistake just because you were not aware what spell they have. Mia tried to suicide once more, but this time I saved her. Am I not nice? Playing against my own tips? Well, honestly, I just wanted to get a kill, but messed up. Another gank that I almost messed up was the next one. This is in general a dangerous area to gank, but with our advantage, we can still pull off that one. First we took out Hanabi, but then I messed my ult because the Cyclops were smart enough to run away. Uranus also died once more, and Karina got another triple kill. Once a hero is so overfed, it becomes really difficult for the opposite team. Amon hunted down our Mia, which he paid for with his life. The lesson you can take out of that scene: don't chase low enemies. This backfires so many times that it's not worth the risk. Next I tried to push, but Cyclops showed up once again. Let's show him why the immobilize effect is not working against Badang. Since I didn't plan to use Badang, I actually didn't have my build prepared for him. I'm using Corrosion Sight here for the stun lock. And since our team also has the advantage, I don't really need to buy defensive items for Badang. That would only make me weak now. And since the enemy is pretty bad, I better use an aggressive build and try to finish the game ASAP. We had another gank, which didn't went perfect. You can say that Karina was positioned wrong here, but you can also say that I was sleeping a bit. It was definitely not my best game ever, but with our gold lead, we still came out on top. Now we have an interesting situation. We have the gold lead, but can't push because all enemies are alive. Here you have different options. Firstly, you can try to take the Lord. That forces the enemy to either contest it, which you can use as a ganking opportunity, or they stay passive and you get a free Lord. You can also try to catch an enemy who's out of position, like here, and here. Or you set an ambush to force a gank. Here I saw 3 enemies top, so if they will decide to be careless enough to come here, it would be a good ambush opportunity. Since I don't have my petrify available, I wouldn't jump into them alone, but I could give my team vision, and hopefully they are smart enough to see the opportunity as well. Nothing happened here sadly. Since I saw 2 enemies bot, and 2 are dead now, I took the opportunity to push again and took out Uranus. That would be a bit risky, but I wanted to demonstrate to you the stun lock ability from Badang. Nice aim, bro. You need to die for that. We also got the Lord, so now we can just finish the game quickly. Whoopsie, that didn't work out as planned. I overestimated the power of Badang's ult here, and if I would jump into the fight now, I would die as well. So in a situation like this, just stay alive and defend your turret. The respawn times at the late game are so long, so if multiple teammates die, better stay alive and defend. Otherwise, the enemy could just finish the game, because if you're all dead, nobody can defend obviously. This is why you should never be too sure about a game. One mess up gank in the late game and you could lose the match. Camping is a good chance now to take out enemies who are dumb enough to run around carelessly. Now, Uranus and Cyclops try to push here, while we still clearly have the upper hand. By the way, don't auto-aim your ult. I saw so many Veils lately that just auto-aim their skills. Please, don't do that. Do you really want to waste your ult on a minion like that? What is our beautiful Mia doing, by the way? Oh wow, she actually killed the enemy's Hanabi here. Karina almost messed it up here though, but used her frozen effect at the right time, so we could win the gank. Pro tip for Badang, he can use any wall for his stuns, so you don't need to hit the enemies with the second skill, if another wall is just standing around in this area. Now we could easily finish it, and didn't even need to break a sweat for the first win of our journey. I got carried by a godly Karina, you can say, but not every match will be that easy on our way to Mythic. How do you like this format? Was it too detailed? Or did you enjoy that I went so deep into the match? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now go check out this video, where I show you 8 tips you need to know before you even try the challenge for yourself. Also, a huge shout out to my Patreons Twisted J, Mist, Corbear and Garo OP. If you want to support my work as well, here you have a link for the page. See you over there!